welcome to episode 4 of season 2 of Coach Please podcast. My name's Dan.
And I'm Monselete. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I am really excited for today's topic on coaching credentials and stage fright. I certainly talk into this one.
Yeah. So if you don't know, coaches, when they're getting their ICF accreditation, they have to submit a recorded coaching call. And I don't know about all of you coaches out there, but I feel like when I go to get my next credential and I have to record a coaching call, like the minute I hit record, it's as if I'm coaching for the first time ever in my entire life. It's like stage fright performance as a coach. Is this normal?
Very, very. I went through it at every stage from ACC to PCC to even to MCC after teach. I was on camera the better part of 60 to 70 hours a month teaching. But when it came time to do a credential call, I would choke and worry and be like, oh, we'll get into the whys of it. But it is a very common experience. And I hear it in pretty much everyone I mentor. It's part of the progression.
Yeah, it's like no matter how well you're coaching, the minute you hit that record button, all of a sudden it's like you're starting all over again from the very beginning. And it's sort of frustrating because you're like, what just happened? I've been coaching for so long and I hit record and everything I know is gone out the window. It really is a bit of stage fright. And I don't know about other people. Something I've had to work through is I feel like knowing that somebody's going to be listening to these recordings and checking boxes, it's like I'm looking for perfection. I want to be flawless in my delivery, which also kind of chokes me out in the process. And I have to remember ICF just wants us to be present. And I don't think that they or anybody wants us to be flawless because that isn't even
Mhm.
human. But it is hard to think about that because for me personally, the minute I hit record, it's like I freeze and then I'm thinking, am I hitting every marker correctly? Did I say what I should have said? Did I say the wrong thing? Did that come across the right way? It's challenging.
Yeah. And let's look at all the layers that are present there that are different than a regular coaching session. So first off, regular coaching session in the world, who's the focus of it? The client. There's no one else in the room. No one else is going to listen to it. We're there for them. And it's just the flow of the moment of what's occurring. There's no other external factors in theory. We come into a credentialing call. The first thing that tends not to get talked about is who is that session for? Because we've been trained, it's always about the client. We're told to show up for the client. Credentialing call for a sample for evaluation is not about the client, it's about the coach. It's about, yeah, you're going to show up for that person. You're going to deliver a coaching session. They have to know they're showing up for you because they're not being evaluated, the coach is. So it becomes truly a partnership. And then that shift in awareness of typically we're present for the individual. Now, particularly starting the mentoring process, typically it's the first 5 sessions. We're aware of we have to behave a certain way. Here's this checklist. And now we're present facilitating to a checklist rather than being in the flow of the moment. And until we stumble around that checklist and get used to what the markers are and how we show up without having to think about it, we get halting and we start evaluating ourselves and we're present to a list of ideas rather than being present with the individual in front of us. And like I've said to so many, there's a wonderful Zen cone that I truly love that goes, do without doing and all gets done. And if you coach without trying to hit the markers, magically you just hit them by being present and being in the flow of the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to add to that. I do think some of the jargon that they want that we are supposed to say, it doesn't feel natural. It isn't a natural conversation. I love Marion Franklin, her take on this, which is A coaching conversation should really be as if you're sitting across the table from somebody and having an organic, natural conversation. That is really what coaching should be. And yet, sometimes the things that we have to ask to hit the marker, it is not a natural sentence. It's not something we would naturally say. And I think that, at least for me, that for me sort of kind of um, puts a it puts like a road bump in that conversation. And so now I have to be mindful when I'm recording. I'm going to say some things that I probably doesn't even sound natural to me, but I have to say it to hit the marker. And I guess it all comes down to, we talk about coaching as coaches and I see it, but when it comes to credentialing and why coaches feel like they're rookies even when they're not for that recording, I think part of it is also that, like you said, it's on our mind, we're thinking about it, we have to sort of let it go, but there's also a different way of conversation we have to sort of do to make sure we're hitting that marker.
And I've heard um, Marsha Reynolds say something very similar. Right about the time that the ICF was changing the core competencies back in 2022, 2023, I sat in some trainings that she was doing, and she would talk about they were never meant to be this, that there was this structure that suddenly came along that said, what's our focus today? Oh, what would you like to get out of the conversation? And while there's a reality to it in training of what is the general structure of a coaching conversation that makes it a coaching conversation, there's a billion different ways to ask these questions. And then the wrinkle that comes to it, and it's one of the most frustrating things for me as a mentor, is I can't just listen to it as, did my clients ask the question in a way that did they hit that marker for the session focus or the session measure in a way that's clear that a neutral party observer, this evaluator out here who we don't know what kind of day they're having, will say, oh yes, they hit that marker. And what appears to be a very objective process, because here is a list of criteria, either on a 7-point bars scale for ACC and MCC, or on a black and white observe, not observe for a PCC. How are they perceiving those markers and what they expect the coach to ask to be able to say they did it is so subjective. And that puts additional frustration on it, because now the coach is getting evaluated and starting to evaluate self, and am I asking the questions the right way, and all this stuff that comes forward. It just gets to be a really frustrating process after a while, and I totally get. And it's why when I'm mentoring, I talk about these things up front. Like, you're gonna stumble, but the stumbling is part of the growth. It's just there until you really start to own that next level of inquiry. And then it becomes natural and easy and you flow. Like, PCC was the hardest one for me. And I'm happy to say it. I was in tears in the very first session because I didn't know how I'd been facilitating. And by the end, when I finally broke through to be able to hear that deeper dive, now I can't unhear it, but I wouldn't be facilitating and listening the way I was had I not been able to push through that with someone who held the space for me to hear differently.
Yeah, well said. Well, there you go, everybody. It is not normal to feel cringe when you record yourself or feel like you're starting all over again, even though you've been coaching for a very long time. And if you liked this episode, please like it, subscribe to our channel, get more updates from us, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you recorded yourself lately? Did you cringe? How did you feel about listening to yourself? We'd love to hear.
I think about my PCC call from nearly 5 years ago, and I can't listen to it anymore.
There you go.
All right. We'll see you all soon.
See you soon. Bye.